Hey guys, Richard Holder here, and sorry about the echo. I am in the dyno cell, and you can see behind me I have the 4.3 liter L99 baby LT1 V8 up on the dyno. Also, as you guys can see, it is carbureted and not fuel injected, but you guys came here to see this thing and to hear it run, so that's what this video is all about. In this video, we actually get to see this thing run and hear it run and actually make a pass. If you haven't seen the live video that I put up, please check it out. That is right here. I got all excited because I wanted you guys to be able to see this thing start up for the first time. Because the excitement about going to get a motor from the wrecking yard is you do not know what it is. It might be a diamond in the rough, and it might just be rough. So when you get a motor from the wrecking yard, it's always a, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. So when I finally put it up here on the dyno, I get to find out. But before I do that, I always check it out. So before I put the intake on, before I put the headers on, before I get it all ready to dyno test, I go through a procedure and I check a number of things. So that's what this video is about. I got the motor from the wrecking yard, I got it here at West Tech, and it was all complete. It had all the accessories on, it had the wiring harness, so I had to remove all of that stuff, and I'm gonna go over that. I also put the motor up on the dyno to check to see if it had oil pressure, because that's very important. I also wanted to check compression, and we're gonna go over that stuff because that's also very important. And then we're gonna go over all the little things that I had to do to make this thing ready to test, including putting a carbureted induction system on it. And thanks to one of my viewers, Bob, that was awesome, loaned me the intake manifold. Obviously we have the carburetor, we have the distributor, but loaned me the intake manifold that is specific to this LT1 L99 application. So I got to run it on the dyno. I wasn't able to run it with the fuel injection, but we were able to run it carbureted. I did the live feed, and I want to talk a little bit about that real quickly, because if you haven't seen that video, check it out. But in the live feed, there was some excitement. I made some mistakes. There was a geyser. I created Lake Richie, and I had a second leak. There were a lot of things that didn't go right, including the thing was misfiring, and for you guys that were watching, I did solve that problem. It turned out to be something simple, as it always is. It was both a spark plug and a spark plug wire that was creating the problems. Also, as I mentioned in the video, I did not have the dial back timing light. I went to get that. And I didn't have the air fuel meter on. So I had a lot of things going against me, but it's just time. I was really excited. I wanted you guys to see me start this up for the first time, because when you get a motor from the wrecking yard, you don't even know if they run. So the first startup is very exciting, and I wanted to share that with you. We did get it running. I did solve the problems. I got the thing working. I got it tuned. It's alive. It's well. Let's go over all the things it took to get there. Then let's hear it run and make some power. Broken exhaust bolt on your L99 4.3 liter, no problem. Makes up a little epoxy. Time for a systems check. What we're going to do is put some oil in this thing, fill the pan up, fill the filter up, even though this is the old filter. I just want to see if this thing has oil pressure before we go to the trouble of getting it running. Let's find out. Yeah, overflow. Got a little enthusiastic about pour there. All right, moment of truth. Okay guys, we've got the L99 4.3 liter V8 LT1, the little baby LT1 up on the dyno. I have checked oil pressure. It does have oil pressure. Also compression, all the cylinders have compression. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to pull the LT1 intake manifold off, and we're going to start off by running it carbureted. Unfortunately, we can't get it running fuel injected today in the available time that I have, and I'm going to have one of the Westech guys take a look at getting it running with the fast injection. So for now, I'm going to put a carbureted intake manifold on there with a carburetor. We'll put a distributor in it. I just want to make sure that the engine just sound and runs the way that it's supposed to. We'll do a few tests with the thing running carbureted, then we'll go ahead and switch back over to this LT1 intake manifold and see how it runs fuel injected. So we got some interesting things going on here. First of all, I got a new gasket for the thermostat. Obviously the thermostat's supposed to be in there, but we wanted to close the bypass, so I made a custom bypass closer upper, and we'll put a little silicone around here, put the thermostat housing back on, and then I'll loop those two, hook up our water lines, put a carburetor on, put exhaust, plug wires. Look at that. All-important power curve. This thing made 243 horsepower and 280 foot-pounds of torque. And remember, this is with the single plane intake and the carburetor and long tube headers, no accessories. This thing was originally rated at 200 horsepower, but obviously was rated at 200 horsepower with the factory LT1 style intake manifold. It was also rated at that power output with all of the accessories, the factory exhaust, the factory tune, yada, 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 which is why these things always make more power on the dyno the way that we run them. And then we've gone ahead and changed the induction system also. So this thing is actually doing fairly well. I want to make sure tomorrow when I start the new testing that it backs up this number just to make sure that we're consistent, because you always want to do that on the dyno, especially if you're spreading this out over a couple of days. So we reestablish a baseline in the morning, make sure that it's accurate. We got some cool stuff to try. I'm going to try, got some camshafts from the guys at TPIS, also have some nitrous, which is always easy, and then we're going to try to put the fuel injection on. So it'll be interesting to see how the factory LT1 intake manifold compares to the carbureted intake manifold, and then I got something really cool I want to try if we get the fuel injection right. Okay guys, as you see, it did make power, and it made pretty good power. As a matter of fact, I want to verify that tomorrow because I have some more tests coming up now that it is running, and it seems to be running very well. I can do some cool tests with it. Now I can try nitrous, I can try camshafts, I can try all kinds of cool stuff, and I'm definitely going to do that. We are also going to put fuel injection on it, but I may or may not use the OptiSpark. We have a crank trigger, and if we use that, we can put the HOLLEY on it, and I can do all the tuning on the HOLLEY because I have a lot of cool stuff that I want to try, but it's easier if I can do all the tuning and I don't have to rely on somebody else using a system that I'm not familiar with. So that's the plan, but I'm going to run this motor. We're going to run a ton of stuff with it. I'm very excited. Then I'm going to get a 5.7 and run that and do a ton of stuff with that. The guys from TPIS, Jim Hall, thanks, shout out to Jim, sent me some camshafts. We got some cool stuff coming up. Stick around, but remember, like, share, subscribe, ring the bell. But one quick note before I leave, it was very cool to do the live test, but one thing I wanted to cover is the fact that it doesn't always go well. That's the thing about dyno testing. As much as we do these videos and everything looks like it works out wonderfully, dyno testing does not go that way. It doesn't go that way for me. It doesn't go for anybody else at dyno test. Some days it seems like nothing goes right, but eventually you work hard, you get it done, you get the test done. Thanks for watching, guys.